Song number 40, the song of how to gain happiness and avoid suffering. At the feast held for Vajrangpa on his return from India by the patrons and disciples of Red Rock and Bhutu, Jetsun Milarepa prophesied the coming of the peerless Gampopa. Then he was invited by the patrons to remain at Chuba. While Milarepa was there, a great yogi of the land tribe, having heard of his reputation and filled with enthusiasm and aspiration, arrived from Dagpo. As soon as he saw the Jetsun, a samadhi of bliss, illumination, and non-thought arose within him. His faith confirmed, he said to Milarepa, "I am a yogi from Dagpo. I have learned many teachings, including the Great Perfection, from several gurus. I have also practiced the meditation of distinctive observations and the tantric action of equality. I am not satisfied with the shallow experiences of mere understanding, and have been greatly inspired by your reputation. Therefore I come to you for the Dharma. Please be kind enough to grant me the instructions." The Jetsun asked, "Have you yet had these experiences during your devotion? Now listen to my song. Have you missed the Guru's pith instructions because of mere verbal knowledge? Have you missed the profound distinct wisdom because of your two clingings? Have you lost the view of profound insight because of the hindrance of dualism? In practicing the meditation of no perception, have you fallen into the pitfall of forms? In practicing the action of equality, have you gone astray through indulgence and skepticism? Have you failed to understand that Nirvana's fruit is found within yourself? Have you thought the false experiences, contrary to the sayings of the Tantras, to be genuine and sound? Have you missed the intrinsically void mind essence by obstructing it with artificial thought? When you practiced yoga in solitude, were you misled by demons in disguise? So as the potter turns his wheel, the forces of ignorance turn one ever in samsara." The yogi replied, "It is true that I have been like this. Now please initiate and instruct me in order to correct these faults." Milarepa granted his request and set him to meditate. After some time, the yogi, now called Langomrepa, was still unable to get rid of his attachment to virtues, still thinking them to be concrete and with definite form. Many wandering thoughts arose in his mind so that he could not free it. He had an urge to visit the town and so forth. Milarepa was fully aware of this. So when Langomrepa came to report his experience and progress, he said, "Langom, you should not cling to the formality of virtuous deeds, but try to subdue your wandering thoughts about going to the town and concentrate on your meditation. Otherwise you can never free yourself from the three realms of samsara. Take heed of these things." Then Milarepa sang, "For him who keeps the tradition of the lineage, all errors vanish in the ultimate. All things come with ease at the right time. He who acts like this is a true yogi. In the practice of Mahamudra, there is no room for thinking with a clinging mind. When realization of the state beyond play words arises, there is no need to chant or keep the rules. Yogis wandering in towns always yield themselves to the will and favour of relatives and friends. Their actions become pretentious, their talk nonsensical. The light of the void by hypocrisy is dimmed. If in town one pays no attention to what people feel, troubles and worries will rain upon them. To avoid fear and regret at the time of dying, to escape the fatal chasm of samsara, one should always conquer the enemy, desire. Remember always transiency and death, and ever meditate in solitude. He who observes not his mind nakedly becomes apathetic and indifferent. He who prays not with earnestness is prone to be misled by false experiences. If with great diligence and perseverance he does not practice the profound teaching of the skillful path, he is prone to be vanquished by desires. If he remains in a hermitage, merit will surely grow within him." Langomrepa thought, "The Jetsun's words have hit the crux of the matter. He is right about my faults." So he meditated in a hermitage without distraction until he gained superb realizations. Then he came to report his progress to the Jetsun. Greatly pleased, Milarepa said, "That is very good, but you should still continue to practice like this until you attain Buddhahood. These are the important things you should always remember. A son, a wife, and fame are three fetters for a yogi. A Dharma practitioner should abandon them. Good enjoyments and prestige are three hindrances to a yogi. A Dharma practitioner should abjure them. Relatives, patrons, and disciples are three obstacles to a yogi. A Dharma practitioner should forsake them. Wine, fatigue, and sleep are 3 robbers of a yogi. A Dharma practitioner should avoid them. Chattering, joking, and entertainment are 3 distractions to a yogi. A Dharma practitioner should abjure them. The Guru, the instruction, and diligence are 3 refuges for a yogi. A Dharma practitioner should ever rely on them. Solitude, merits, and good companions are 3 staffs for a yogi. A Dharma practitioner should ever use them. Non-distraction, non-thought, and bliss are 3 good friends to a yogi. A Dharma practitioner should ever consort with them. Relaxation, spontaneity, and naturalness are the 3 attributes of a yogi. A Dharma practitioner should ever keep them. Non-desire, non-hate, and supernormal powers are 3 signs of a yogi's success. A Dharma practitioner should ever achieve them. Milarepa said, "Because of your blessing, I have now relinquished all that should be relinquished, and can practice the right Dharma spontaneously and with ease. I feel happy and cheerful all the time." The Jetson replied, "Yes, my son, this is correct. A yogi who has completely abandoned all the faults and acquired all the merits is always happy. If he does the opposite, he will suffer all the time. Therefore, he should always discriminate between right and wrong for his own happiness and safety." Whereupon he sang a song, How to Gain Happiness and Avoid Suffering. He who knows his own nature and the immanent truth is ever joyful. He who wrongly acts is ever sad. He who rests in the state of nature and is ever spontaneously pure is ever joyful. He who surrenders to impulses and environments, being subject to hatred and to cravings, is ever sad. He who realizes that all things are the Dharmakaya, freed from all fears and hopes and doubts, is ever joyful. He who is impatient, talkative, and rash, being overpowered by worldly desires, is ever sad. He who knows that all things are his mind, that all with which he meets are friendly, is ever joyful. He who squanders his life away, carrying remorse to his grave, is ever sad. He who has a thorough realization, at ease with the self-sustaining reality, is ever joyful. He who is enslaved by his desires, insatiable and always longing, is ever sad. He who is freed from all forms without effort, always immersed in the experience, is ever joyful. He who merely follows words, unseeing of the mind, is ever sad. He who renounces all worldly things, free from worry and consideration, is ever joyful. A Buddhist who measures and stores up grain, cherishing the women and relatives he loves, is ever sad. A yogi who discards all worldly ties, realizing all is magic and illusion, is ever joyful. He who diverts himself, taxing his body and mind with sensuality, is ever sad. A yogi who rides the horse of diligence towards the land of liberation is ever joyful. He who is weighted with a stone that pulls him to the bottom of samsara is ever sad. He who avoids misunderstandings, amused at the play of his own mind, is ever joyful. He who has sworn to practice Dharma, but indulges in sinful deeds, is ever sad. He who has done away with fears and hopes and doubts, perpetually absorbed in the state of origin, is ever joyful. He who submits to the will of others, obsequious, artificial, and ingratiating, is ever sad. He who leaves all this and that behind, always practicing pure Dharma, is ever joyful. Milarepa and the other disciples were all greatly inspired, filled with joy. With the power absorbing themselves in the unwavering samadhi of Mahamudra, they were able to further their spiritual progress in this magic-like world of form. The Jetson was very pleased with Milarepa, who later became the patron, the disciple, and the Dharma brother of the Dagpo Rinpoche Gampopa. This is the story of Milarepa's intimate son, Milarepa.